I do want to get to a reading series this week because this was my favorite article that I read, and it is a profile of everyone's favorite senator, John Fetterman, in the Wall Street Journal. And I don't want to give anything away here, but the headline is John Fetterman on being the loneliest Democrat in Washington.
Every day is like your son's birthday. Dun, dun, dun.
The portrait of Fetterman that emerges in this piece is about as depressing as watching a Mike Lee movie. I mean, I don't know. I've just been watching them recently, and that's what's on my mind here. And it says, just the tenor is set early on. Walking into Senator John Fetterman's reception office in the Russell Senate office building, I first noticed the walls. They are covered with 8.5 by 11 images of Israeli hostages taken by Hamas on October 7, 2023. Atop each is a red banner reading "Kidnapped." On one wall are images of those who remain in captivity. On the other are those who've been rescued or returned alive or otherwise. I knew of Mr. Fetterman's unequivocal support for Israel after the Hamas attack. What I hadn't appreciated was the degree to which that support is now central to his political identity. He is an outlier in his party, only about 33% of which view Israel favorably, as compared with 83% of Republicans. Come on in, he says in monotone, gazing downward. I take a seat on the sofa across from him. As I sit and adjust my phone to record the conversation, he says nothing. Eager to fill the silence, I mention something about the walls of the adjoining room. Yeah, he says, still not looking at me, and begins a minor harangue on the outrages perpetrated by, he doesn't say Hamas, the Palestinians. I've seen that video, he says, meaning the video reporting is compiled by the Israeli government of the October 7th murders, and I can't believe it. He stops. Where is that kind of depravity, that hate? Where does it come from? Even the Nazis, with all their depravity and their evil, they tried to kind of hide those atrocities. These people filmed it with their GoPros, and they cheered like it was they scored a goal. In the videos, they call their parents, and they're like, hey, I just killed some Jews. Where does that kind of hatred come from? Could you imagine? Just imagine, like being in a room with this guy. The journalist is there to do a profile of you, and he starts being like, "Have you seen the snuff film? I have it on my phone."
Yeah, he's like evil Rocky.
I just don't understand why all this footage is shot from a helicopter.
Yeah.
Who gave these sick people anti-vehicle rounds? It's so not right. They say they can't eat food, but they have Apaches and they know Hebrew.
It says here, he isn't done. It wasn't just Hamas either, he says. Now he's looking at me. Let's not forget the majority of Palestinians support what happened. Referring to the lurid ceremonies in which Hamas soldiers released hostages, Mr. Fetterman says, wow, you're so tough terrorizing a woman you've kept in a tunnel for over a year. Like you're so tough with your shitty rifles parading around. That's why I'm always going to be on the Israeli side, all right? I nod, wondering if there's more. Yeah, he says, print that.
Yeah. Oh, you heard it here first. I'm not afraid to be a U.S. senator who supports Israel. The most dangerous position in the world.
God. He's such a fucking oaf. I feel like his version of like jacking off to the Victoria's Secret catalog is like the underwear being held up by the soldiers.
Yeah.
Did you see that when that journalist asked him about how he said a year ago he would never vote against anything that like endangered the legal status of dreamers, and he voted for that fucking horrible
the Lake and Riley Act,
yeah. And he went he just like looked at his shoes and went, I don't see why people care so much about what I wear. The only two things he can remember are that he likes Schwartz in Israel.
Yeah, it says here, 12 Democrats voted for the Lake and Riley Act, requiring federal authorities to detain illegal aliens charged with crimes, but Mr. Fetterman was one of the only two Democratic co-sponsors, and he enjoys dwelling on the subject. I was always and still am very pro-immigration, he says. But he asked what a jury of 100 people in a Walmart parking lot would think if he told them he favored letting criminals stay in the country illegally. They're going to be like, hell no, that's crazy. Other data points. Mr. Fetterman was the only Democrat to vote for the imposition of sanctions on the International Criminal Court for charging Israeli officials with war crimes. Democrats and media commentators insisted that Vice President J.D. Vance had triggered a constitutional crisis when he observed that judges can't control the executive's legitimate power. Mr. Fetterman dismissed the claim as hysterical. And when the president suggested the U.S. could evacuate, rebuild, and repopulate Gaza, Mr. Fetterman, virtually alone among congressional Democrats, declined to express outrage. The journalist asked him about when he was like anti-Trump, and he says, I regret some of the dumb shit I said on Twitter at times. On Groundhog Day in 2017, when he was mayor of Braddock, Pennsylvania, he joked that Mr. Trump saw his shadow 4 more years of fascism. Other similarly unkind remarks litter his old posts. As he explains his answer, though, it becomes clear that Mr. Fetterman has more in his mind than stupid tweets.
Okay. I don't think that's a physical
his response to that is,
possibility.
after my near-death thing, I kind of lost my appetite for all that. He says here, I don't doubt his acuity, but the effects of his stroke are detectable in his halting speech and his occasional struggle to pronounce words. Yet when he lost in fluency, he gained in equanimity. Mr. Fetterman mentions some of Mr. Trump's cabinet appointees who have appeared on Fox News. They've all said negative things that it was about. And it's like, just doesn't bother me anymore. We could all say dumb things, and at the end of the day, it's just cheap heat. It's the stuff of the world that would probably be better without. He sums it up. It all feels different after facing mortality. I almost died.
Okay.
Is the reporter pulling the fucking string that comes out of his back? Holy shit. This fucking idiot has nothing going on. You talk to him for 5 minutes and he's like, the first 5 minutes,
I just watched footage of them eating a baby. Can you believe it? They say they invented shawarma, but I know they invented eating baby. And they still do it.
Minute 6.
I don't know why people care that I spilled this cheese on my shirt. The worst guy in the world can wear a suit, and the nicest guy can wear a tattoo.
Minute 7.
I nearly met Santa in hell, and it changed my life.
I relate a lot to Trump. I also narrowly was missed by the bullet that nicked my ear. I was holding the gun.
I put the gun in my mouth, but I got hungry.
I used to do this bad shit. I would post Gritty and say he gonna guillotine capitalism. Then I realized that everyone's a person at the end of the day, and we all go home to our wife Giselle. We all married to our mom.
How is he not third mic on Red Scare? Like, it's the exact same arc.
It says here, he has the blowback from his own side. Has the blowback from his own side been hard to endure? Defending Israel after October 7th has had a significant impact on my small donor base, Mr. Fetterman allows. So the Democratic base is against him. He offers a curious formulation. I'm not much of a you should. I'm more of a I'm doing. That is, he would rather do his job than dilate on why he's not doing it. No, sorry. That is, he would rather do his job than dilate on why and how he's doing it. But I also know that for the base and for the small dollar donors, that's really not what's selling right now. I think they want more of the performative stuff, the yelling and the explosive things. But I've lost my taste for that. And that's why I say it feels lonely right now.
I'm sorry. When he says fucking,
I'm not a you should, I'm an I do.
like, I love that because it's like,
Yeah, I'm not about all that stuff where you say what an issue is or what you think about it. I just go to my job and I breathe in and out.
Is that so, John? You don't like the part where you articulate what's wrong or what's good about something?
Why do people always ask me what senators are doing? I do what I do. CEO at me.
Yeah, I go to the bathroom one leg at a time like anyone else. I sit down at the urinal and I read my thoughts.
I just try to put the square piece in the round hole over and over, okay? I don't think about why I do it.
I also like when he says,
I'm no different than a plumber. I go to my job every day and I put the poop in the sink.
I'm no different than a plumber, and that like my crack is always showing.
As we get to the end of this article, it says here, Mr. Fetterman no longer slumps in his chair. He sits up straight and seems exercised. So I asked the question I doubt he'll answer. Are you going to remain in your party? I feel lonely and I'm struggling to find what the true North Star is as a committed Democrat. I'm not changing my party, but what's the way forward? Look, I can't follow every example.
Literally, what's forward? Which direction is it?
I can't follow every example of performance art because I try to be honest. And I don't ever want to lie. But I'm trying to explain to people, America has made us sit in the corner. Republicans don't need our votes, and now that's where we are. I just love when he's just saying, like, I feel lonely and I'm struggling to find my true North Star. Like, to hear this from a fucking senator is just so insulting. It is so insulting to think about a U.S. senator being like, I'm lonely. I don't know what I'm doing.
All around me are familiar faces.
Yeah, like, are you fucking Meadow Soprano's first roommate? Shut the fuck up! You're 57! You live in a house that your dad bought you! You got your first job when you were 49! You became mayor of a town with one basketball hoop, and that's all you talked about for 15 years! And now for the next 30 years, you're gonna talk about
The time that I almost went down the tunnel.
I don't get it. He's got no energy except when it comes to Israel. Like, it is insane how
It's
that's
weird.
the only
It's-
thing
yeah.
animating him. He's like a fucking zombie. And then when you say Israel, his like eyes like light up again.
I collect videos of sort of like, you know, when like angry constituents or like activists confront him, because like him on his feet is just fucking hysterical. I don't know if you saw that video of him in the airport where like the guy's confronting him about Gaza, and Fetterman just sort of like, he stares at the moving walkway trying to remember if all sidewalks are like this or if it's just his lucky day. And then after like 7 minutes, he goes, you know, this guy's like, it's a genocide. They're like shooting fucking children. Like, this is all, how do you support this? 7 minutes of this, and Fetterman goes,
This is devastating. You're just devastating.
he's like, I mean, he talks about like, how would this look to 100 people in Walmart? They should have your job. The dumbest fucking person I've met is capable of more abstract thought than you. I like, this is the most submental man ever in
Activists
American politics.
should stop protesting him and just start gluing quarters near him to different surfaces.
On like a crosswalk that he's trying to stumble across.
Done.
You could keep him from so many votes by treating him like a hitman NPC. Just throw coins like within 20 feet of him.
Wait a minute, dude. Are they changing how I get paid?
He's got a question mark over his head constantly. he's looking at the nearby bushes like, I can't see anything.
He picks up the quarter.
Wait, are they paying me every 2 minutes or once a month? If I miss this quarter, they might not give me another. I better pick it up.
I mean, look, depression is no laughing matter, people. But
Yeah.
it's just, you know, but you're like, you know, it's just, you got to get out of bed every day. You got to, like, you know, clean up, do something
got
active with your life. You know,
horribly
like
depressed.
fight against this passivity that's like ruining your life. You got to be an active participant in your own life as a U.S. senator.
At no
Like,
fucking point did my depression cause me to become like a fucking disgusting Zionist who doesn't think
Yeah.
Palestinians are people. Like, there's no excuse for this, you know? You can't just be like, well, you know, he's been through a lot. That's why the only thing that animates him is like, you know, the thoracic cage of a fucking child being crumpled.
Something that you know, to give the normals a little insight into the mind of the entertainer.
Go
You know,
on.
many clowns are crying inside.
Yeah. You may see us rock a microphone, but the real rock is our brains. I'm like Fetterman. No, one of my you know, my hard and fast rules was that, and I think like everyone on the show has always been like great about this, and I've never even brought it up, but I've always hated like you know, when someone who has a podcast or is like a streamer or just generally someone who can make the same income as like a medium good lawyer by doing content every week, like complains about like how fucking shitty it is, or you know, complains about how mean people are to them, because it's just like, you know, no one wants to fucking hear it. It's, you know, it sucks out there. It sucks to answer to people and to, you know, have all these responsibilities. No one wants to hear any of us complain about it or complain about people being mean to us. And you know, we try to never do it. The only people that I think have even less of a right are fucking senators.
Yeah.
Who work like 2 days every 3 years. And he's doing all these interviews about like,
I just feel all alone.
like, okay, then fucking end it. It's your son's
Yeah.
birthday.
Yeah. John,
Jump off the roof of your house then.
Remember to go down the street, not across next time.
Do I even deserve this free health care?
All right. Well, yeah. I'll leave you with that rather banal and unbearably bleak slice of life inside the emotional and psychological well-being of a U.S. senator.
Well, sorry. One more thing. Do you think it's just a coincidence that his wife wasn't around to answer any questions for this big profile?
Well, I mean, he does say that he does say that he's lonely. I mean, he's lost almost all his staff too. I mean, they've all hit the exits over the last year or so.
Yeah, crucially, none of these staff left over ideological reasons. Like, all of his staff are like fucking assholes who agree with him on all of this dumb shit, which means that, like, in addition to being a dullard, he has to be like shittier to work for than Klobuchar.
I mean, Felix, there was a news report about his departed staff, in which one of them anonymously said that when they would like in a car with him, he would just be constantly showing them snuff films on his phone of like Russians being killed in Ukraine or Palestinians getting blown up. Like he is a really rotten person. Like, he's so depressed that the only thing that can get his heart beating a little faster or feeling a little joy is just seeing like murder footage.
What a fucking idiot. I feel sad all the time. I wonder if it's these murder videos that I'm mainlining into my weak psyche.
I just wanted
that. I can't. I only have such a weak spirit that when my son got a PS5, I walked into the middle of the road and said, "I'm about to be the senator from heaven." I better watch a million fucking videos of murders every day. That'll cheer me up. That won't obliterate me. Senator Fetterman, you can't make it through Bluey. Why are you watching Live Leak?
I just wanted to give the mouse a hug. Now it's not moving.